Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Darksiders Warmastered Edition. In the last episode we fought our way through a number of the trials of the Shadow Realm, and eventually defeated 4 Watchers and got past a Gatekeeper. This episode we'll be moving on towards our ultimate goal, which is to get to the Twilight Cathedral, where the Bat Queen Tiamat has gone to roost. I've been thinking about this. Tiamat, I assume, is an old name of a demon, because it comes up in a lot of stuff, like, for example, in D&D, Tiamat is the queen of whichever the bad dragons are. Is it metallic? No, metallic dragons are the good ones. Chromatic dragons are the evil ones, and Tiamat's kind of the queen of them, and she's one of the demon lords of D&D. So I guess it just must be an old demon name, because it seems to come up quite a lot for some kind of flying, batty, witchy thing. Anyway, there is a chest here. I'm just gathering some souls by reaping through a shit ton of cars, but there's a blue chest over there, and some, what are they called? Shadow currents here. There's also a thing down to the left there, which you may or may not have seen, which is a kind of almost like ice crystal looking thing. We don't know what that is, and we can't interact with it for quite some time, so I'm not going to... Ooh, something gone spooky there! I'm holding onto a part of the bat that I shouldn't be holding on to. That really sounded way more dodgy than I was anticipating it. But yes, the blue stuff is a thing for later. Anyway, a couple of demons here, so we came close last episode to leveling up the scythe. So hopefully this episode we can do so. If I use the scythe fairly relentlessly in combat, we should be able to get it to level 2 soon, which will be wonderful. I think I'm going to avoid doing finishing combos on these guys just because I actually want the experience with the scythe. We haven't unlocked it quite yet. Oh dear, I accidentally did that. It's very natural as soon as I see B to just press B. Yeah, we haven't unlocked it yet because it requires 5,000 souls. But Death Scythe, the Harvester, is great because if you kill enemies with it, you just get more souls out of them, twice the souls you otherwise would. And that's blue souls, yellow souls, green souls, whatever souls it would give you, you get double, which is wonderful. But for now, I'm just trying to level up the regular scythe, so I'll put the speeder on. Wonderful, the door is open. How close am I to leveling up the scythe? Oh! Yeah, that's easily going to be doable this episode. Let's crack this door open. And welcome to a new area. Oh, nope, I'm not quite where I thought I was. There we go, welcome to a new area. This is the Broken Stair, which is a very cool area. Because it's basically an old highway section. Right, so, if we come down here to the right, we get... There it is over here, an artifact, a soldier artifact. Most of them will be soldier artifacts. The 6 champion artifacts are in very specific locations, which will make sense as we get to them, and the Overlord one is even more different. But no, what I was going to say is, what is the difference? I was thinking about this. I said highway. So the word highway doesn't really exist in, like, Britain. As in, we use it like the Highways Agency are the people who are in charge of maintaining the road system, but we refer to motorways are like the kind of main roads that like connect cities. I think the equivalent of basically like an interstate in the US, that they go between cities and they're like the highest speed limit possible. There's always a crash barrier between you and the other carriageway. And then you have like A roads, which are slightly major roads but smaller than motorways, and then you have B road and such like that. Americans seem to use the word highway and freeway interchangeably. Can someone in the comments please tell me what the difference is? Because I've never fully figured it out. And it's always been kind of like bugging me, because I thought for ages, like, I was like, oh, freeway is within a city, highway is between cities. But then you have interstate highways, which are like between cities and between states in some cases. Down here, blue chest, and other shit as well. You notice there's 3 directions, and each of these directions has something cool in it. Oh, that's a lot of things. Why am I using... Oh, I should have been using the scythe there. I could have leveled it up by now. But yeah, always wondered what the difference between a highway and a freeway is, so if someone can make it clear. Unless it's literally just a kind of... It's the same as talking about, like... Synonym is... I was going to think of an example, but I couldn't, but basically... 3rd lifestone shard. We're very close to getting a 2nd lifestone now, which is great. Yeah, unless they're just synonyms that people use interchangeably, which is possible. Anyway, if we look around, we see some of these sigils. These are, you should recognize by now, that little spiral with the blue thing hanging from it is Vulgrim's sigil, which means the man himself is not far behind, which means another Vulgrim location has been added to the Chronicle, which is also means the visualizer. I think I actually haven't talked about the Chronicle at this point. If you press back, you open up the Chronicle. Oh, well, the Chronicle is your whole map of your whole inventory and stuff like that, but this specifically is the map, so you can look around the local map. There is the world map, so you can see there's 4 areas unlocked at the moment, which it won't let me look at, but right down at the bottom is the Crossroads, where we started, then straight ahead is the Scalding Gallow, where we found Samael, to the right is the Choking Grounds, where we were last episode and the beginning of this episode, and then to the right there is the Broken Stair. The rest of it is all greyed out, and you can kind of get an idea of the size of the world. I think there's like 10 or 11 areas. I think you get some stats and some tips and stuff like that. We've walked 15 miles, and we've spilled 693 gallons of demon blood. Wonderful. What would you ask of this humble merchant? I do love Volgrim's voice, he sounds fantastic. This game really does do a lot of like the kind of... let's give him an artifact. It does do a lot of the kind of like distortion effects on like Demon's voice and stuff, but I think it sounds fantastic. Let's buy a few things. I can't quite afford that. Oh no, I bought Harpoon Tackle last episode. Wonderful. Because I was thinking of what to buy. I was like, I want to buy both Whirlwind Combo and Harpoon Tackle, but they're expensive. I bought them last time. I bought Harpoon Tackle last time, so let's buy Whirlwind Combo. As you are powerful. Whirlwind Combo is great, because you notice it's multi-hit slash, and the combo is X, pause, X. Which seems like a really weird instruction, but it's actually it makes combat actually a little bit different. So, using Chaos Eater, if we just hammer X, we do this. But if we press X and give little pauses between, we now do this. Which means that combat isn't just hammering, because now doing that thing, so that's the kind of like standard one, but you do that whum whum whum, whum whum whum, whum whum whum. Each one of those does about 5 hits, so if you just press X with a couple of pauses in between, you get like 20 hits out of a combo, and it's very, very, very powerful and really worth getting early on, and I will be using the shit out of it as soon as I've basically brought the scythe up to level 1. Anyway, we want to head into this building for now. And where do I go? I guess it's just upstairs. Here we go. Right, let's kill this guy. And we should level up the scythe extremely soon. Scythe's nice as well for destroying environmental objects, which is why I put Ravager on it, because then we get extra souls for destroying environmental objects. Which makes sense. I meant to kill him with the scythe. And finish this guy off. Bam! Wonderful. Right, there is a blue chest over here. And then we can't actually proceed any higher up this building, but we can use these various shadow currents to glide up onto the... well, I don't know, highway, freeway, motorway? Well, it's definitely a motorway. But this is clearly America because we're merging from the right, so it's clearly right-hand drive traffic. Anyway, enemies will spawn there, but if we double back on ourselves here, there is a chest here, which gives us something cool. It's something we've already got. It gives us a Lifestone shard, but it gives us a 4th Lifestone shard, which gives us a new Lifestone. So we now have an entire new Lifestone, which is wonderful. I'm going to take these guys out using the scythe. If you jump and hold Y, you do that spinning attack, which is very powerful. And hopefully with this, we can get enough scythe level points. Or apparently not. I am surprised by that. Oh, there is still one guy left though. Hey, there we go. The scythe ebbs and flows in war's hand and its destructive power increases. Wonderful. I'll switch back to Chaos Eater now then. Because now I can use the Whirlwind combo, so Chaos Eater has suddenly become a lot more powerful. This area I think looks really cool, of having these buildings that have got like demon spikes through them, and having like sections of highway that are like floating and chained up. I think it looks really cool. One of the things I must very much praise is the aesthetic of this game is really cool. Like, in a lot of ways you can say it's generic, it's just the kind of like... It's demon stuff, so it's lava and spikes and chains, but very cool nonetheless. I like it. Time for a Scythe Demon! I haven't fought one of these bad boys since the tutorial, and we had Chaos form then. You will notice, perhaps you had, perhaps you haven't, but We lost the ability to use Chaos Form in the tutorial, and we've not got it back yet. You do get it back, but it's still quite some way in the future. For now, the Scythe Demon is just going to throw cards at us from a distance. He really sucks at hitting you. If he gets close, just use Block Counter to, like, reflect it back at him with perfect timing, but actually, his accuracy is terrible. Now, he's got, like, a kind of 2 attacks. He's either got a powerful attack or a kind of 2-step combo. That's the 2-step combo. As you can see, it's very powerful. But we have our Whirlwind combo, so press X with good timing, and then dodge out of the way of his attack. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, well, he keeps blocking me doing it, but as long as you keep using it. I might have to use my life essence soon, because I am taking quite a lot of damage here. Scythe Demons are powerful enemies. Obviously, we minced through it in the tutorial, but that's when we were at maximum beans, and we are far from maximum beans at the moment. There we go. Good lord, that was a very brutal finishing move. Scythe Demons are awkward ones because basically they deal a lot of damage, but their health isn't particularly high and they don't have great defense. So you take them down quite quickly, but they can deal a lot of damage to you during that time. So it's a kind of very high stakes battle because you can very quickly just, yeah, you see my point entirely. We can hover across this building now and get introduced to a new concept. Once again, the concept we're about to face will not be at all new if you are familiar with Zelda games, because it's exactly from Zelda games 1-to-1. This is a beholder. It's got an eyeball, and it's guarding that door. We cannot get through a beholder's door without a beholder's key, so this is the equivalent in a Zelda game of a locked door. I mean, that's exactly what it is, so we need to find a key for it. If we go downstairs, on the first floor, we don't find a key, but we do find a single zombie and a blue chest. Unsurprisingly, that hasn't healed me hugely. We need to go down another floor to get to the key itself, and there's a few demonic soldiers down here. And you get an idea now of how quickly Whirlwind combo wrecks enemies. Like, without using finishers, one set of Whirlwind combo destroys a demonic soldier, because you do land like 10 attacks in a row on them. It's great. Anyway, this is a cool looking chest. Let's open it up. I love that animation. Now we get a Beholder's Key, an ornate key with a symbol of an eye engraved into it. Unlocks a nearby barrier. So we have a little symbol next to our minimap now, which shows we're holding one, and much like with Zelda, you can only hold small keys within certain areas, and you tend to use them almost as soon as you get them. So we can't go further down, so we need to head back up to the Beholder's Key. Yeah, Whirlwind combo now makes us very powerful. How leveled up? Okay, Chaos Eater's actually halfway through to another level. I probably won't use the Scythe. Like, I was trying to get the Scythe leveled up there, but I'll probably use Chaos Eater a lot more now. Because now, with Whirlwind combo, that obviously also attacks in a circle around you, so the Chaos Eater has now got a nice bit of area of effect. The main thing I think I will still use the Reaper Scythe for is that. Because Chaos Eater ain't got no equivalent of that. Anyway, now, let's open the door, and it's fairly grim. Stab the beholder right in its eye, and the force field opens.
This way. It's nothing. Some demon trick. I know what I saw.
He's right.
Uriel.
It's there, beneath the stench of this place. You can sense it, ancient. From neither the White City nor the Black Depths, something lost between.
God! To arms!
Slay him!
So, welcome to Riding the Angelic Beast. This is like a kind of on-rails section, like kind of R-Wing sections in old Star Fox games and like that kind of thing. you're moving constantly forward, but you can move around with the left stick, and you can aim with the right stick, press RT to shoot, press and hold RT to tag enemies for homing shots. Homing shots obviously home in, but the standard RT shots are much, much more powerful. I tend to kind of not use the right, so the right stick aims like that, and the left stick moves you around, which kind of aims for you to some extent. I tend to don't use the homing shot a great deal, because while it does home, it's not particularly powerful, he says, destroying 2 enemies in one fell swoop with it. But this is firstly, right, 2 things about this section. Number 1, it is long, and number 2, it's potentially extremely difficult. Like, you can fuck it up quite readily. When enemies fire shots like that there, you can clearly move away from them, and it's relatively nice. You see here, I'm aiming just by moving the left, by moving the left stick around, not the right stick at all, because the right stick's a bit janky. Like, it doesn't aim precisely particularly well, the right stick even. You'd probably be best using the mouse for that, but obviously I'm not. We also got, a couple of things happened there. Number 1, Uriel is still alive, the angel that we saw right in the opening cutscene. She's clearly still alive and kicking. You can gather a lot of souls here as well, as you can see, because every enemy you kill brings you in some souls. She's still going around, despite the fact that her, the leader of the angelic forces was very much killed during the apocalypse. Oh, this is a big bastard. Right, fire everything you've got into him. He will stay there for a while, and then he'll make those 3 spheres. Those spheres will float there for a while, and then they'll come and attack you. So take out the spheres as soon as they're there, and then focus on him again. Homing attacks can work relatively well on the spheres, but really, if you don't mind just sitting there hammering the button, far easier to do. And she also hinted quite interesting. There's a side demon on the ground there, which we can take out for some extra points if we want. There is an achievement to be got here, which I haven't yet got on this PC, for getting. I think you have to kill 160 enemies during this section. It's certainly a lot, and it's not easy to do. And this is the only chance you have to do it, so if you really want that achievement, you should have basically saved before it, and then get it afterwards. I'll show you, I suppose, the homing attack. You can basically hold to charge, and then you tag multiple enemies, and then release to fire against them, but it's not very powerful, and it is very slow. Certainly using this attack is much more powerful, even if it does create an annoying clicking on the commentary track, but, you know, there's nothing I can do about that. But yeah, they also hinted during that scene at War. So War is an interesting one, as Uriel noted. From neither heaven nor hell, he's a horseman, and the horsemen are something completely different to any other part of the balance. They're not from either of the 3 kingdoms, so man, heaven, and hell. And the game kind of goes slightly more into that as you go on, and the whole series deals with that a little bit more. And I guess at this point I should mention kind of the rest of the Darksiders games. So basically Darksiders has had an interesting history. It was envisioned as 4 games, originally. 4 games for 4 horsemen. The idea being basically they would each take place, and with each one you would control 1 horseman, and they kind of give 4 separate but interlinked stories. Darksiders 2 exists, and deals with death. Obviously they're all siblings. So Darksiders 2 you play as Death, and then after Darksiders 2 came out, the studio that makes it, the HQ Nordic, went bust. Was it Vigil went bust? I think it was a part of THQ went bust, and Darksiders was shelved for a while. A company bought THQ but didn't want to continue the Darksiders series, but then another company bought that company and did want to continue the Darksiders series. A lot of enemies you had here, they're not particularly powerful, but they do yield a few souls each, and also count towards your potential 160 for your achievement here. And so Darksiders was resurrected. And coming out end of November, so really not that far along, is Darksiders 3, where you play as Fury, sister of War and Death, and the kind of the third of the horsewomen. But she's female, so I don't know, horseman doesn't feel right to use as a phrase at that point. Can you actually lock on at this point? It does give me like the L targeting symbol, but it doesn't actually seem to lock on successfully, so I don't know why it's offering me that. But they're interesting because sequel isn't the right word, because they take place in some ways at the same time. One of the things you may have noticed is that this game starts with War. The apocalypse happens and War is blamed for starting it, and then War is imprisoned by the Child Council for 100 years before being sent back to Earth to clear his name. Darksiders 2 takes place. A lot of Darksiders 2, when you play as Death, is within that time period, so it's already half of it has already happened at this point, because it's in that kind of that time when War has been imprisoned by the Child Council, awaiting his sentencing, which is quite an interesting idea, having these games which kind of somewhat overlap and somewhat don't. And as I understand it, Darksiders 3 is going to fit into that same kind of thing. So it's very cool. And there aren't many games that do that. I'm glad they're actually getting a chance to really finish it. Oh, there we go. There's that big demon again. yeah, so that's quite interesting. This section, right? This'll really judge the loyal fans here. Who has seen my Star Fox Adventures series? Those who have, does this not remind you of Boss Dracor, the boss of Dragon Rock, towards the end of Star Fox Adventures? I mean, generally, I did say R-Wing sections. It does remind me of... Oh, a lot of souls for killing that big demon bastard. It does remind me of the on-rails R-Wing sections from a lot of Star Fox games. But especially the ones in Adventures, because that's the Star Fox game I know the best. And very much because of the lava-y, demon-y nature of it. The boss of Dragon Rock, where you're basically going around in circles fighting a kind of mutant demon dragon creature thing. They never really made it clear what Dracor was supposed to be, but one thing I noticed with this section as well, fucking huge. I've been going for at least 5 minutes, and if you fuck up and die, you've got to do it again from the beginning. It's one of the reasons why killing is important in this section, because killing enemies gives you a chance at getting green souls, and green souls is your only way, obviously, of healing at this point. So it's kind of like a combination this between Boss Dracor and that section where you fly the Kargarok in Twilight Princess, where you're like flying up the river and trying to do various things, which are really bloody difficult at first. I found that really hard when I first played that game. It was the whole Lanayru gathering shadow beasts, not shadow beasts, shadow, what do they call them? Shadow insects, dark bug things, Tears of Light, Vessel of Light. I found really, not even hard in that game, just slow and time consuming. Ow. Right, I think we must have come close to getting the 160 enemies we need for the achievement. It'll pop up in the bottom right, and then it does, because that's what Steam achievements do, but it is a hard one to get. You have to be pretty fucking on it to get it, and I think this is one of the few parts of this game where I think keyboard and mouse are better than gamepad, but you actually can't switch between on the fly. If I wanted to switch keyboard and mouse, I would have to close the game and start again, and I'm sure Shadowplay would not like that, so I'd rather not test it at this point, especially because this is the same sitting in which I recorded the first episode. I've been recording solidly for 2.5 hours. So, oh, that's a big bastard up ahead. So I very much don't want to fuck that recording up.
I assume? Guess she wasn't up for having visitors today.
So, that thing that attacked us at the end was the Bat Queen Tiamat, who's taken our angelic mount. And as you may notice, we're not in a great place right now. We've come all the way beyond the Broken Stair, and I mean, I guess Samael wasn't kidding when he was like, by land you will never reach it. So we're taking the angelic beast, but it means for now, you are trapped here. There is no way back from here with your current abilities. Obviously, that sounds like a spoiler, but that's because, shock, you don't spend the entire rest of the game at the Twilight Cathedral. But for now, you are here. If you need it, there's a green chest there for healing, but I actually came out of that pretty well. There's that as well, remember that. And if we head round to the left, there's a few more of these little bat things. Obviously, this is the roost of the Bat Queen Tiamat, so it makes sense that there are a large deal of smaller bats here waiting to be shitey. But if we go over to the right here, there is everybody's favourite demonic merchant, Vulgrim! Another Vulgrim location for the Chronicle and for the Visualizer. Let's talk to the bastard. So, can buy a fair few things now because I've got a lot of money from that run. I'm going to buy Uppercuts, because Uppercut's very nice. So that's the one where you hold X and you release it and it throws the enemy up into the game. Up into the game? Up into the air. I don't know why I said game there. As you can see, so, combos are one of the only things I have, they're basically the only thing in the game I haven't put on the Visualizer, because there are some I just don't like, and I'm not going to bother spending souls on them. You pretty much can't buy all of them unless you spend a lot of time like grinding souls, and I'm not going to necessarily do all of them. So I just buy them as I want them, hence I didn't put them on the Visualizer. But I just bought 2nd level sword uppercut, so if you hold X and then release and launch them to the air, this means that just goes higher, which is nice. I can also afford Death's Rage. RB and Y, a multi-hit flurry. Because that basically uses what I use the scythe for, which is as an kind of area of effect thing. And now, as it said, if I hold RB and Y, you do that huge rising attack, which is, it doesn't knock enemies back as much as doing that does, but it does a lot more damage to them, so it's great. You'll notice, yeah, that one now has more damage and more range. And finally, I guess at the end of the episode, I'll just talk through the other things that kind of Vulgrim sells. So obviously, here are all new Wrath powers. The other two, so there's 4 Wrath powers in total: Blade, Geyser, Stone Skin, Immolation, and Affliction. Can't get those 2 yet. And you can level up these ones here if you've got sufficient souls for them, but they're quite expensive. This is the Scythe and its upgrades, blah blah blah, we know all of this. Bane is another enhancement which generates Wrath naturally over time. As long as you've got it slotted in a weapon, it will just generate you Wrath over time. You can buy a Wrath Shard from him, just the one. You can buy an entire Wrath Core from him, so 4 Wrath Shards for the price of 1 Wrath Shard, so he sells a single Wrath Shard and a Wrath Core. He also sells an empty vessel, which I can't afford, which is an empty vessel that can be filled with something. And these are all things you can fill an empty vessel with. You start the game with 1 empty vessel, and you can gain a couple more over the course of the game. Rage is a consumable which heals your Wrath. Greater Rage heals more Wrath. Life Essence heals your health. Greater Life Essence heals more health. And Undying, upon receiving a Fatal Strike, War's health and Wrath are completely restored. So, basically Fairy from The Legend of Zelda. But we haven't got a vessel at the moment. We actually start off with an empty vessel with a Life Essence in, and we've not needed to use that yet. Which is great, because you see there where it says 1 green thing, that one thing is a Life Essence. But we've got a couple of Life Stones, so we don't particularly need it. So, I'm going to hold it there for now. We have come to the Twilight Cathedral, and it's a fantastic looking Gothic ruin. And the Twilight Cathedral is our first true dungeon of Darksiders. And next episode, we're really going to throw ourselves into it, and it's a fantastic dungeon. And as I say, for me, it's the point where this game went from being, this game is an interesting thing, to, I like this game now. So, very excited for that next episode. I hope you'll join me then. This has been Darksiders with me, the Doctor. Thank you very much, and good day.